It is Tecmo Tuesday. It is time to play the Super Bowl. It is the final game of the season. And by play Super Bowl, I mean watch the Super Bowl because my team did not make it. And I will be, but I will be simulating the game and commentating as I have over the previous playoff games I had nothing to do with. I did fuck up after recording the conference title games last week, and I didn't save the save state, so I had to go back and simulate to make the appropriate teams win. And I was also so these scores are not right. 30-7 Raiders was not the final. 34-7 Giants was not the final. But I did get because I fucked up, I had to get the right teams back in the right place with no injuries either. So everything is we're no there's a as Radiohead said, everything in its right place. Now, I'm also going to, after this game, I'm also going to simulate the Pro Bowl. That's going to be the bonus game at the end, and I'll get into that one later, but let's just get on with the Super Bowl. Raiders and Giants. Now, I've said before, as everybody knows, or I don't know if everybody knows, but maybe nobody paid attention, or maybe I just kind of glossed over it, or maybe you glossed over a game where I mentioned it. But I've mentioned a few times that the Raiders are my team. They've always been my team, even though I live in New England. So I have a soft spot for them, and I'm rooting for them in this game. But I'm not, I will not lose sleep if they lose, and I will not lose sleep if they give up this opening kickoff return for a touchdown. No, to the 25. And this game has a. I've always wanted to see this Super Bowl in real life because it would be, my stepfather's team is the Giants. He's the one that was very instrumental in getting me into football, and there was one year, 2000, when it was very, very close to happening. And I'm convinced that if fat fucking tub of shit Tony Siragusa did not crush Rich Gannon and put all his body weight into him and knock him out of the game, that there'd be a chance that would have happened. Meanwhile, Otis Anderson scores the first touchdown of the Super Bowl to put the Giants up top, 6-0, probably 7 once Matt Barr kicks the extra point. So as far, I'll just mention the Pro Bowl. The game, has a Pro Bowl lineup. I don't think it's 100% accurate to what the Pro Bowl for '91 was. I think they might have just thrown together a team based on who everybody felt was whoever was in charge of putting it together. I'm not, don't quote me on that, how accurate the in-game Pro Bowl is, but you can go in and change the roster of the Pro Bowl lineup in the game. So I went through all the stats and I formulated a little, I don't know, I guess like a little point system or whatever based on certain stats and gave them each a number and basically came up with what I felt should be the Pro Bowl based on the stats of the season that I played. So it's a completely different Pro Bowl lineup than what it is, the game has by default, and I'll go over that roster when this game ends. So meanwhile, the Raiders had a rough first possession, and the Giants will get it back. Otis is knocking people over. Gets a huge gain. He's been, and then he's going to take it again. And gets a nice 8-yard pickup. He's really looking to win that MVP. And Meggett says, "Not so fast, my friend. I want some glory myself." Giants are really doing well running the ball here. Oh, and that's what you do. You play fake it, and then you have Sims scramble for a whole yard. It's that's that. He had Baker open. He should have went to him, but the running game is what's been working, so why not keep going to it? And Sims even said I wanted to run the ball too because everybody else is running so well. But Anderson and Meggett a little bit better at that game, and Anderson punches in his second touchdown of the game to put them up. Second touchdown of the quarter. And it's been all Giants so far. They ram it down the Raiders' throats, forced the 3 and out, and then rammed it right back down their throats. So we'll see if this is, this will turn out to be a blowout of like many Super Bowls have been, and the Giants calling the play. This and just blasting them in the backfield. Marcus Allen going nowhere. This vaunted Giants defense is pretty stacked. And they're going to blow up Bo Jackson behind the line of scrimmage and force another punt. I don't know if the Raiders have not gotten any positive yards here. They've not gotten past the original line of scrimmage. They've been sacked. They've been tackled behind the line. Giants are they've come to play here so far. Sims hasn't even thrown the ball yet. He had a chance to, but he instead decided to run the ball. Instead, OJ is going to take off, knock a few people over on his way, and he will score this 3rd touchdown of the day. Holy shit. I mean, his stat line is going to be sick. We're like not even midway through the second quarter. Feels like it's the 3rd quarter based on the score. Not even midway through the second quarter, and Otis has, I want to say, he's over 100 now, and he has 3 touchdowns. It might end up being, it might obliterate any real Super Bowl record for yards and scores. Raiders meanwhile throwing it up and incomplete. That was going to Galt down the right sideline. And another blitz. They are just the head coaching staff is it. Are you sure that this isn't the Gruden ball all over again, where somebody on the Giants staff has all the plays and they're calling everything that the Raiders are doing? That's what it feels like. And another incompletion. He was covered. That wasn't a good play call for that situation. If you really wanted the first down, because none of the receivers went very deep. You had a lot of ground to cover there, and you're down 21-0. It's desperation time. I know it's second quarter, but it already is desperation time. Sims in the shotgun. They're looking for some more. Then that was, that was the first pass of the game for Phil Sims. We're basically at the 2-minute warning. You'd never see that in real life. Not you wouldn't even. You'd have to go back to like 1930 or some shit to see. No passes until late first half in a championship game, or almost any game. At least in the NFL, anyway. Like the wishbone offense was never like a focal point. And meanwhile, Otis is looking for a 4th touchdown here. He's knocking everybody over. Jesus Christ, he is a fucking machine today. God damn. And look, that was... Oh, that... when it was just overthrown by a fingernail. I mean, Baker looked like he had a chance to make the catch, but it would have been a really nice play. And that's the first time that they've done anything to stop the Giants. Oh, and they're going to do the flea flicker. That's a great call in that situation. Didn't work out at all, but because I mean, you've been running the ball all day, it's been working. Of course they're gonna expect the run. They faked me out. And Matt Barr misses the kick. That's the only thing that's gone wrong for the Giants all day. 28 seconds left in the half. And Schrader gets sacked for, I think, the 2nd time. Maybe the 3rd. He's going deep. And there's a diving catch by Galt. They have just enough time. As the first completion of the day, the first down of the day, and it's 3 seconds left in the first half. He's got guys open. Throw it. And Mervin Fernandez with a leaping catch scores right at the gun to put the Raiders on the board, so that really helps. for there actually to be a decent game out of this. I thought that was gonna be blocked. So now it's a 2-score game. It's much different. It would be a lot different. Oh, and here's the Mighty Bomb Jack halftime show. Let's enjoy the Mighty Bomb Jacks. Yeah, they really worked hard on this choreography. Yeah, I'd be like a little freaked out if I saw this in real life, you know, like these guys just flying without a jet. Or even more freaked out if they all just kind of fused together and grew. Very impressive. No cheerleaders, though. I mean, the fuck? Alright, so the Raiders get the ball to start. I thought the Giants get the ball. See, that was how unmemorable that first possession was. I actually, and I even mentioned it earlier in the game. I thought that the Giants took the ball and ran it down their throats to start off the game. I forgot that they stopped the Raiders first. No, I was right. What the fuck am I saying? Yeah, the Giants got the ball first. So that's why they have the ball first now. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking here. I got no excuse. But here's Bo, and Bo is finally making an appearance, and he scores a touchdown. So just like that, it's a 1-score game. And that's why the double dip right there is so important. That's why I always kick off. Because in that situation, I mean, Jesus Christ, it was there were 3 seconds left in the first half, and the Raiders they had the ball in their own fucking territory still, or just beyond Giant territory. I don't really remember what the yardage was, but it was about midfield. It wasn't really likely that anything was gonna come out of it, and they just heaved up a bomb, and Mervin caught it. And then you take the ball and you give it to Bo to start the second half. Now, they're going to have to play some D, though, because they haven't... The only thing that they were able to do was hold the Giants to a missed field goal, which is, you know, is a lot more important looking right now. But, again, they got to stop them. Giants are in field goal range here already, so they've got to stop them, and... It's 3rd and 1, so they got to call this play here. Because if they run it, forget about it. It's going to be a first down. And they do call the play. And they do get him behind the line, so here comes a field goal attempt. If Barr misses this one, then the Raiders have a chance to tie the game. And it looks like he's going to get this one. Yeah, so that was an important field goal there for the Giants to, you know, at least hold off the momentum. Because the Raiders, if they would have missed that shit, then... The Raiders would have had a chance to tie the game in the 3rd quarter while, you know, it looked like when there was 3 seconds left in the first half, the game was out of reach. You know, it's how fast the worm can turn. Tecmo is that's one thing that Tecmo has that real life football is like a lot of the times. That kind of shit you can't explain. It's there's a, you know, it's a wacky fucking game sometimes. Marcus gets the first down. Let me go to Marcus again. And there's Bo trying to run circles around everybody. Yeah, why not go to him? Touchdown. So now the Raiders pull to within 3. It's as close as they've been since the Giants scored that first touchdown. This could be a comeback collapse of epic proportions if they... Oh, shit. Look at that little maggot get injured. Fuck him. Not because I'm rooting for the Raiders. I don't even, it's like I feel bad even for the microchips, even for the fake uh, players in a video game for injuries. I don't root for injuries even in a video game. But Dave Meggett was an absolute disgusting piece of shit human being, and I don't feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for even his virtual character getting hurt. Meanwhile, Bob Golick with a big sack. Meggett was a rapist, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. And there's another blitz. Lionel Washington, the cornerback, gets in on the action at 3rd and 28. So the Giants need to convert. They're gonna need to get a lot of yards. Instead, they end up with another sack, and it's 4th and 29. So the Raiders, amazingly here, have a chance to either tie the game with a field goal or take the fucking lead if they can score a touchdown. There's quite a tussle going on over there at the 29-yard line. 3:40 left. Marcus for the first down. He's going to get some more, too. The secondary took a bad angle on that one, and he's all the way down to the 29. So, with just over 3 minutes left, the Raiders are in field goal range. Marcus up the middle for 7. You don't need to call timeouts. Yeah, again, like the computer AI is a little weird sometimes. You have all the time in the world. Oh, man, I thought that was going to be a diving interception. That would have been one hell of a play. Here's a huge 3rd down here, because if they don't get this, they should kick the field goal to tie, and Bo Jackson is going to skip by, and he's going to score. I can't fucking believe this. I know that the Raiders have some nice offensive weapons there. If there aren't many teams in Tecmo that are more capable of scoring a lot of points. But the Giants' defense, especially the way they looked early on, and they were just crushing it. So I was surprised that this has been what's happening, but it's still a 4-point game. Giants have the ball, 2 minutes left. They can stop the bleeding. They can, on this drive here, win the game. But they get the Maurice Carthon is in instead of Meggett, so those 2 plays that normally go to Meggett are going to a definitely an inferior back. And here comes the blitz. Sims gets it off though, and Anderson makes the catch. So that ends up being a little, what could have been a 7 or 8 yard loss ended up being a 4-yard gain. That's a big difference. That's like a 10-12 yard difference. And now Maurice Carthon off the bench making a clutch catch down the middle of the field with 1:11 left in the game. Oh, there comes the blitz again. Sims with a quick release though. Oh shit, Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker, makes the leaping catch, and they're making people miss. So now it's 1st and goal from the 9 with 48 to go. Holy drama. Carthon takes the pitch, but he goes nowhere. That's ballsy right there to give it to your backup running back in this do-or-die situation. Oh man, he misses the sack and throws it over the defender to Stephen. Oh no, that's Ingram. I had them backwards. I thought Baker was the guy up top. I was wrong about the earlier assessment. So that with 28 seconds left, the Giants take the lead right back, and it's 31 to 28. So with less than a half minute left, it's gonna be another desperation heave here if anything's gonna work. Yeah, it throws it over the middle. Oh, but it's the Bo, and he cannot escape. If anybody had a chance to make that happen, he probably, if anybody in Tecmo is going to break away in that situation. You know, Bo Jackson is the one that you would expect to. Look at Otis Anderson's numbers: 226 yards rushing. He went to sleep in the second half, as did the Giants' offense for the most part. But that was a clutch drive at the end. Not a lot of passing yards from Phil Simms, only 57, but he didn't have to because they had 259 yards rushing, most of it by OJ. You know, the two big catches for each team. I mean, Mervin Fernandez with a huge catch at the end of the first half for the Raiders. That was his only catch, and Stephen Baker had one catch for 34. But that was, as far as individual plays for the Giants. You know, you just take your pick on any of the OJ runs that he just broke through for huge gains. But that last drive, it was just a culmination of matriculating the ball down the field and making the plays when it counted. I gotta say, I'm very pleasantly surprised at how the game turned out after the way it started. I thought, well, this is gonna suck. I'm just gonna have to ramble about something throughout most of the second half. But it ended up being a really good game with an incredible finish. Alright, so the Giants will have this little ceremony highlight here where they'll go through the roster. And then I'll do the Pro Bowl immediately following this. Here's the roll call. They're going to go through every player. Yeah, so Simms and Haas. Hostel didn't have to come in to fill in for Phil Simms like in real life it happened. I don't know why, you know, I mentioned it before, that Rodney Hampton should have been like the RB2 and not Dave Meggett. Meggett was the return man more than anything. Mark Bavaro was a really good tight end back in the day too. This was, you know, this team here, this Giants team was basically it. This was the end of the Bill Parcells era, the 1990 Giants. And then I think they had, after they had they had some shitty seasons, and then they came back and had one really good team when Dan Reeves took over. But after that, it was just like a really bad decade for them. If I was playing, if this game, this Raiders-Giants game that we just watched would have been, you know, if I were playing as the Raiders and my stepdad, you know, was playing as the Giants as we did, you know, playing video game football so many years, my God, that would have been a profanity fest. The anxiety would have been through the roof. You know, we would have let the expletives fly. Especially, you know, of course, not when I was a kid. You know, the expletives didn't fly, but when I, you know, got older, they certainly did. So that is it for the Super Bowl. Now I'll go the Pro Bowl. So I mentioned that you know, I was able to I went through the stats and I went through the you know, the league leaders, and I took into account certain stats depending on the position, whether it was quarterback rating, completions, percentage, yards, touchdowns, and I, you know, took like the top 5. It depended on the position, but let's say I took the top 5 and I gave them point values based on each stat, and I took the top players from each position and assigned them as Pro Bowlers. So here is based off of this season's stats, the Pro Bowls for the AFC. You got Warren Moon from the Oilers as the starting quarterback. Dan Marino from the Dolphins backing him up. Thurman Thomas, Marcus Allen, Bobby Humphrey, and Blair Thomas is a surprise at running back. He did have 1,164 yards. That was not what I was expecting out of it. And Bo Jackson's not on here either, but Marcus Allen is. And, you know, he just had more runs, more yards. For wide receivers, you have Andre Reed of the Bills, Mark Duper of the Dolphins, Anthony Miller for the Chargers, and Drew Hill for the Oilers. Oh, and I didn't mention the team name. So Thomas was for Buffalo, Marcus Allen for the Raiders, Bobby Humphrey for Denver, and Blair Thomas for the Jets. For tight ends, we have starving Marvin Cook for the Patriots and Pat Beach for the Colts. I was not expecting any Pro Bowlers for the Colts besides the punter. I was pleasantly surprised, and this was actually a very, very tight battle between him and the Dolphins tight end, Farrell Edmonds. He had 22. They both had 4 touchdowns, but the difference was uh, Beach had 24 catches. Edmonds had 22, so it was only 2 more receptions, and Edmonds had like 12 or 13 yards more than Beach. Yeah, 535 to 548. So it was a 13-yard difference and a 2 reception difference the other way. So I was kind of torn. Like of all the Pro Bowl matchups or lineups that I had to come up with, this was by far the toughest. Whoops, I almost changed it. This was by far the the closest matchup, and I went with Beach because I felt like the 2 receptions were bigger than the 13 yards. Because you look at the average, you know, receptions for these tight ends, it's all in the 20s. So if an average catch is like 20 yards, then those 2 catches were worth like 40 yards, which is a lot more than what Edmonds had for over Beach with the yardage department, and that was really the main difference. So, and on top of that, like I definitely, I tried to be as objective as possible, but I reasoned that based off of that got Beach as the spot. It doesn't matter because he's going to be a backup anyway. Marv Cook was, he definitely had the better season. Uh, but it was just nice to know that I got a Pro Bowler on the roster that wasn't the punter. Um, Now, for the offensive line, this was weird because there wasn't any stats in the game for the offensive lineman. So I had to take some creative liberties with this one. And what I did was for the center, I took, what happened was, so I went to the team rankings and I went to the leaders in offense for each conference. And so the Bengals had the highest scoring the most yardage offensively. The Oilers had the most passing yards, and the Raiders had the most rushing yards. So for the guards, I took the Raiders 2 guards because they had the most rushing yards. The Oilers had the most passing yards, so I went with the 2 tackles for the Oilers, and the Bengals had the most total, so I went with the center for the Bengals. So that was my formula. So because of that, we've got we have Bruce Kozerski for the Bengals, Max Montoya for the Raiders, Don Maggs was the tackle. And Wisniewski was the other guard. Maggs for the Oilers and Steinkuhler for the Oilers was the other one. So the 2 Raiders guards, the 2 Oilers tackles, and the Bengals center. For the defense, we had Bruce Smith. That makes all the sense in the world, of course. Uh, and Jacob Green was the other defensive end, and then the nose tackle was Joe Nash. For the Seahawks had Nash and Green. Bruce Smith for the Bills. Nash and Green both for the Seahawks. So the Seattle had pretty good defensive line. They also had Cortez Kennedy who didn't make the Pro Bowl, but you had some, you just had some. So for defense, I went with for the defensive line and the linebackers, mainly was sacks. It's a really they don't keep track of tackles, and not many of the linebackers or defensive linemen got any interceptions. So it was basically sack totals, which determined the defense, at least the front 7. So for the linebackers, you had Derek Thomas and Derek Thomas for the Chiefs and James Francis for the Bengals were the outside linebackers, and the inside linebackers were Scott Davis for the Raiders and the late Dennis Byrd for the Jets. Another Bird, Gil Byrd for the Chargers, was the cornerback, as was Richard Johnson of the Oilers. Safeties were Lewis Oliver and of the Dolphins and Eddie Anderson of the Raiders, and the kicker, Scott Norwood, and as mentioned before, Ron Stark with his obscene 74-yard average, 3/4 of the football field. That's nuts. I only punted it 7 times, so less than half of the games I even ended up with punting. Now here's the telling stat. This one was the craziest one of all. Scott Norwood had a perfect season. 18 of 18 with, I mean, he missed 2 extra points. They were probably blocked though. 18 of 18 on field goals. Oh, you know what? I remember that one of those was blocked because I blocked one of them. That was that the rematch with the Bills where at the end where I blocked the extra point. So anyway, now on to the NFC. There was another block, but anyway, whatever. The NFC Pro Bowl team, we have Joe Montana, that of course, and Troy Aikman of the Cowboys is the backup. For running backs, we got Barry Sanders of the Lions, Neil Anderson of the Bears, Ernest Biner of the Redskins, and Johnny Johnson of the Cardinals. For wide receivers, we have Jerry Rice of the 49ers, Andre Rison of the Falcons, Sterling Sharp of the Packers, and Henry Ellard of the Rams. Tight ends, Jay Novacek of the Cowboys and Keith Jackson of the Eagles. For the offensive line, center was Jesse Sapula for the 49ers. Also the 49ers tackles, which are Bubba Paris and Steve Wallace. They had the most total offense and the most passing yards, so they got the center and the tackles. And the guards went to the Lions guards. Having Barry Sanders help that out. Eric and Andelsek and Ken Delafiore. I don't know how to fucking pronounce that. For the defense now, you got Trace Armstrong for the Bears and Reggie White are your 2 defensive ends, while Henry Thomas for the Vikings, I guess that's what he's been doing since E.T., is the nose tackle. For the linebackers, the outside linebackers, Jesus Christ, you got Lawrence Taylor, maybe the best defensive player of all time, and Charles is in charge, Haley for the 49ers. And the inside linebackers are Jimmy Jones of the Cowboys and Tracy Rocker of the Redskins. Those are some surprise names. On the secondary, we got Everson Walls of the Giants and Isaac Holt of the Cowboys. And safeties, you got Dave Waymer for the 49ers. Not Ronnie Lott. Dave Waymer had more interceptions because that was the main focus. Interceptions, totals, and then yards was the tiebreaker for the secondary members. I don't think I mentioned that in the AFC rundown. Tim McDonald, EIEIO, rounds it off at the safety spot from the Cardinals. And then the kicker is Morton Anderson. He went 13 of 14. He almost a perfect season with kicking. And then Sean Landeta of the Giants. So yeah, the top punting average in the NFC side of things was 40. Only half the field. Who cares? I could blast it 3/4 of the fucking way across with Ron Stark. He's not on steroids or anything like that. So the Pro Bowl. We'll do the same thing. I'll simulate it. I know that I know I got an excuse to play it because I got, I could play as the AFC because that was the conference that I had, and I've got a Pro Bowler on the team, but I don't have, this isn't my team. I didn't, maybe if I lost the conference title game, I'd play this because then I'd be the coach. The coach of the Pro Bowl team is always the coach of the Pro Bowl team is the fucking loser of the conference title game. So Scott Davis with a sack. Oh, you know what I could have done was go in and set the returners to backups just to give some of them some action, but whatever. Because nobody's going to get hurt in this game. So the backups aren't going to see any action whatsoever. But it's really just, this is just for shits and giggles, bonus game for no good reason. And Dennis Byrd, poor bastard. He gets paralyzed and ends his career on the field, and then learns to walk again, comes back through all that shit, and then ends up dying in a car accident. Like, that's just... That I thought was not going to be a touchback. That was, like, right on the line. And Mark Super Duper with the catch. Warren Moon airing it out like he usually does. And he's gonna scramble. He wasn't, you know, Warren Moon was just a pure passer. He, you know, he could scramble around, but he wasn't like the most, oh shit. You know, everybody always, especially back in the day, would always, would always criticize black quarterbacks for just, you know, being glorified running backs. And, you know, back in Warren Moon's days, he was, you know, there was a lot more prejudice back then. There were a lot less black quarterbacks. But he wasn't just like, oh, you know, well, he just runs the damn ball. You know, he threw, including CFL stats, he threw maybe more than anybody else did for, like, at the time that he retired. And is Neil Anderson going to take it into the end zone? The NFC. Yeah, like I said, this game is just a bonus. No, there's absolutely no, you know, bearing on anything. It's just for fun. I mean, the whole fucking thing is just for fun. But this does not change the outcome of this game means jack shit. It's just a fun little way to finish off the season. Marcus Allen with a touchdown. This is also, you know, you would not see in these days. You don't see players. Well, the Pro Bowl is a little different. It comes between the conference title game and the Super Bowl. But back in the day, the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl, which is all the more reason why I did it the way I did it, having this after the Super Bowl. But you would not see. You definitely don't see anybody from the Super Bowl play in the Pro Bowl. You know, they're like, screw that, I'm not gonna go back out there for another game. Especially if you lose. You really don't feel like doing that. There's a pick by Eddie Anderson. Oh shit, here comes everybody. Here's Jimmy Jones, one of the guys I singled out as one of the surprise selections of the Pro Bowl. And there's another pick the other way. So, you know, it's like And Anderson's gonna run. Oh shit, Bruce Smith caught up to him. I don't know if Warren Moon gets the credit for breaking that racial ceiling as much as he should. I know he's in the Hall of Fame, I know he's a legend and everything, but I don't know if it's because he didn't win a Super Bowl or even, you know, make it to a conference championship that kind of holds him back when you talk about this sort of stuff, but you know, yeah, I don't know if he gets his due, even though he gets plenty of credit, but I think he even I mean, his numbers were nuts, and he did it in a time period when African Americans were held back. Let's face it, they were not given the opportunities to at the quarterback position anyway at that time. And that's the thing again. Here he is scrambling. I mean, he could move. He could move in the pocket, but he didn't scramble and run up the down. Like that play right there, you never saw that from him. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe because I saw his the second half of his career more than anything, and I don't know if he just didn't have as much on the wheels as he did earlier on, because he played for a long time. But I started watching, around this time when Tecmo came out, and I only got to see him play for the Oilers for a couple of years, and then went to Minnesota, and his career started to slowly but surely wind down. But he hung around forever, even after that. Meanwhile, the NFC looking to score here late in the half, but Dennis Bird with a second sack. They're not gonna have time to kick a field goal here. Oh man, Dennis Bird racking up the sacks. He's like, why can't I? I mean, he got his share of sacks. That's why he made the Pro Bowl. But it's like, Christ, why couldn't I have a big game like this in the season? Could have gotten the Jets a couple more wins into the playoff contention. Excuse me. So here we go, last half of football of this Tecmo season. So for next week, I mean, I mentioned it in a reply to a comment, who was asking, to me, an inquiry on what the future of Tecmo Tuesday was going to be, and yeah, I'm going to play another season. Oh, fumble! I'm gonna play another season. I think I know what I'm gonna do, but I'm not. I'm gonna hold off until next week. I'm gonna make the announcement. And I'm gonna just mull it over a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure I know what I'm gonna do. And I'll next week's video will be an announcement confirming it, and also the highlight reel. I'm gonna do a highlight package of the second half of my season, because I did the first 8 games for the bye week earlier on. Oh man, that's what they call popcorning in Tecmo. That's one of the Tecmo terminologies, popcorning. The lineman, and there he goes again. He got freaking blasted. You see him rolling the left tackle for the AFC right there, which was he's one of the Oilers. So he's trying to, he's out there to protect Moon again, and he just got popcorned, which is when the player gets pushed and falls back, just goes flying. You see it more so with the it applies more to when you have the ball and you out tap your opponent. If you're playing multiplayer, if you out tap and then, like right there was a tussle. If the ball carrier would have bowled over the guy he was struggling with, that would have been popcorn. But you saw some of these guys, like the offensive linemen, get pushed around. Whoever that left tackle is for the AFC has struggled in the last couple plays. I don't know if that's been the case throughout the game. I haven't really been paying attention to details like that. So this is a close game too. Now, I'd be pissed if the Super Bowl did turn out to be a complete massacre, and then this game was playing out like a pretty competitive game. And there's a touchdown to Andre Bad Moon Rising. the best Chris Berman nickname of all time. But if that first game were a slaughter and then this game was playing out like this, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, why is the... Because I'm like hardly paying attention. Maybe if I sat through that crap, if it would have been a complete shit show, maybe I would have been thirsty enough for a good game that I would be more invested in this. But you know, as it is, I'm just I'm just like sitting back and very casually even observing it. I'm just rambling more than anything. You know, going back to what I was saying about Pro Bowlers that do not play after a Super Bowl, Jack Youngblood was not one of those guys. Now, he played in the 70s for the Rams. It was before my time, but, you know, as the story goes, he broke his leg in a playoff game, in a divisional playoff game. I believe it was in the division. I believe it was the divisional round against Dallas. And then he played through it. It wasn't like a compound fracture or anything like that, but he had a fracture in his leg. I'm not sure the extent of the injury specifically, but he had a fracture in his leg. He played through it, just like wrapped tape around it. Played through it in the conference championship, wrapped it up, played through the Super Bowl. They lost. They lost that game to the Steelers. And then fucking went out there in the Pro Bowl and played on a broken leg. Who the hell plays on a broken leg? And Tracy Rocker is the other inside linebacker that I said was a surprise Pro Bowler for the NFC. Both of the guys, Jimmy Jones and Tracy Rocker, now have sacks, and they're probably giving me the evil eye at the same time. Like, hey, I'm not saying that you know, you guys didn't have a good season. Just saying that it was a surprise. Nobody would have expected that. And oh shit, Scott Norwood went wide right and a clutch 3-point situation. What irony. Now the thing is, it's the fucking Pro Bowl. It's not like he missed it in the playoffs. But still, he had a perfect season, and then he, you know, missed the first field goal, and it was wide right of all things. For anybody that doesn't know the history, Scott Norwood missed the field goal to lose the Super Bowl against the Giants in 1990. And Dennis Byrd with another sack, just sack machine today. And it's a fumble. And Butterfingers, but finally Gil Bird, the other bird, flying high in this one. And there's some popcorning. He got some help from his friends, but now, hey, Norwood could redeem himself, or, you know, better yet, for them score a touchdown. And it's not gonna happen on that play. But there's a minute and a half. I don't want to see overtime. It's like a preseason game to me, you know. It's like it's nice, but it's like, all right, let's, you know, I don't need more of it than a full, you know, full game. It's Andre Reed. Oh my God, way over his head. So he's going. Norwood's gonna have a chance to redeem himself. And he does. So, shit. Looks like they might be overtime here. NFC has a minute to get down there and kick a field goal. I'm just ready for bed. Looks like Barry Sanders is out of gas. Fake the handoff and oosh. Man, Montana and Moon, I mean, are they just fucking around out there? Like, they're throwing some passes that do not look like themselves. And Anderson barely goes anywhere. Huh, they're going for it. It's a tie game. And Anderson gets some yardage. Are they going to kick a field goal? No, they're going for it. You have Martin Anderson. He could reach that. He's going to Bad Moon. He's got him! And I thought he was going to tackle him at the 1 and put the game into overtime. But no, Bad Moon is the hero. Montana to Rising. That's a nasty combination right there. And we've been spared the the dignity of overtime. Not the indignity. I just, you know, you don't want to see extra preseason time. So, I'm glad to see the game ended in regulation. Neil Anderson had 104 yards rushing. Not a great day offensively for anybody else. You know, it was, oh, you know, Duper and Ryzen had 3 catches for 91. That's good. Duper had 86 yards. You know, good solid days for them. And you know, Tecmo stats are different. You know, a 100-yard game is a big deal if you're a running back or a receiver. Anyway, so that was the preseason. The Pro Bowl, and that's gonna do it for this season 1 of Tecmo Tuesday. Like I said, next week will be the announcement slash highlight reel, the announcement of of what the next season is going to be, and then there'll also be the highlight reel showcasing the second half of my season. So until then, I'll see you around.